Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome and welcome to yet another edition of our programs here at Focus on Liberia. Anthony C here as always. Of course, this is the Hour of Politics, our program on which we talk all the politics that you like. Welcome to the broadcast. In today's edition, I have a guest. Minister, that is Assistant Minister Ishaka M. Sharif, is my guest in this edition of the Hour of Politics. He is a member of the ruling government or the ruling party, to put it right. He is here and to take on the issues that are unfolding in the country. I got some tough questions for him, as you know, I always try to do here. But he's joining me on the phone because of some connectivity issues that we were having, folks. He is on the phone, and I can hear him briefing perfectly well to take all the questions. At this time, let me welcome my guest, Minister Sharif. Welcome to Focus on Liberia. I'm happy to have you.
Yes, good evening, Big Brother Anson is here. Good evening to the people of Liberia, and good evening to Liberians abroad. It's a pleasure to be on your network for the first time. I mean, this is my debut. Let me, if I may say it that way.
Right.
And it's fascinating and it's a rewarding experience to be on such a tough, provocative program that's hosted a lot of great people, and I'm always honored to be on your platform. So it's a pleasure being with you.
Thank you so very much, Minister Ishaka M. Sharif, for joining us and also accepting our invitation. You are right. This is one of Liberia's most respected platform, and we can say that with no hesitation because that's what the people out there say to us. Some may disagree, and we understand. Let's get to the issues. A little about you that I know is that you are the Assistant Minister for Research and Development Planning at the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Republic of Liberia. Do you not mind sharing with my listening audience a little about you other than this huge portfolio that you do hold?
Again, let me say I'm honored, and this will not be underemphasized. I'm honored. Mm-hmm. I'm honored greatly to be on your platform because this is one of the best online platforms we've had since its inception. Mm-hmm. It has hosted a lot of great people, and they've come, they share their experiences, both in government and private sectors. And so I'm as well, ecstatic to be here today. But I'm very, very sorry that I cannot be visually seen because of some technical problems, like you said. But this is our show. We'll always be available. My name is Ishiaka M. Sharif, a Liberian from Grand Cape Mount County. I was born onto the union of Mr. Pamuya S. Sharif and Mrs. Fatumata Bona Ali Sharif. Okay, I went to school in Liberia. I graduated from the Assembly of God High School on Cardwell Road in Nikru Town. There where I did my secondary education and I matriculated. That was in 2005, and I matriculated to the University of Liberia in 2012, and I obtained a bachelor degree in public administration with emphasis in management. I've worked at the Ministry of Internal Affairs since 2006. I came to the ministry as a messenger, promoted subsequently to filing clerk and then to secretary in the office. of the Assistant Minister for Research and Development Planning, and I left the ministry in 2014 prior to the senatorial election that saw some great senators, produced elected, including the current president, Ambassador George Manuel Weah, when he was elected senator. And so after the election, 2017, the government, the president decided to send me back here to come and do the Liberian people's job. And this is where I am. I'm in my corner and I'm doing my thing. I'm diligently working for the Liberian people, regardless from whence you come. And so that's my background.
Thank you so very much. Excellent piece of information. At least my audience have gotten to know who I'm interviewing today and also having to be my guest. Welcome. Let's get to it. I see Mr. Abdullahi Kentama, who and you do share the same county from my understanding, but something we share in common before we go to the issues. You went to school in Nicru Town. I graduated from the D12 Memorial High School. I'm not blowing my horn here. When I was in senior high school, I was highly respected. Not a single member of my teacher called me Anthony C. They referred to me as Mr. C. While I was a student. I was a leader, but I'm just trying to say we share something in common. We went to school in the Nicru Town area, a place that I'm proud of, that brought me up. And today all my friends are, so much have this kind of respect for me. But let's get to it. This shouldn't be about me. That is not who I am. So, Mr. Sheriff, you are a member of the ruling government in which you play a role at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Tell us, in your department, you do research, development planning, and I'm doing my research. I saw things like you oversee the collection and publication of tribal laws. You oversee programs geared at decentralization. You talk about establish and maintain databases of counties, and also you conduct periodic socio-economic survey. Wow, those things sound so much interesting. Tell me, how is the ministry handling the Liberian people's job in your department?
It's a great work that we do here. The ministry is being headed here by the indefatigable Minister of Internal Affairs, Honorable Vani E. Sharif. He's the head of our direction and management. He has the team here, and together we have a very good team. We have 4 deputy ministers here, 4 departments here, 5 departments. The minister heads the direction and management department, which is obviously the head of the ministry, and we have the Department of Administration responsible for personnel, responsible for traditional or tribal certificates, also responsible for the culture and tradition of our people. So we have an assistant minister under the Department of Administration called Assistant Minister for Culture that is led by Minister Joseph Janga. Secondly, we have the Department of Operations. Operations takes care of the operation of the counties in terms of the superintendent supervising some of their activities in line with direction given by the minister to that deputy minister and his assistants. And they also run for example, if there are machineries, the operations department runs it. And we have the Department of Research and Development Planning. Like you said, we collect data or historical survey on the traditional folklores. We also have a section of NGOs that are responsible to grant sectoral clearance to NGO that operate in the country, in the countryside, having been cleared by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. We also, in the department here, we do what we call sample survey about the development, the government's development agenda. We also we are responsible to supervise the county service center that generates a lot of resources, for the government of Liberia. County service center is a one-stop shop where in the counties, people don't have to come to Monrovia for example, to come and obtain license plate for vehicle, to come and get birth certificates and what have you, tribal certificates. So we have service centers in the county that's responsible to do that, and they are here and they are supervised by the Department of Research and Development Planning. We also have the peace building area that is headed by Mr. Eddie Molba. They are responsible to collect data and analyze it as to how Liberia's peace and reconciliation, aspect looks like. We have a peace ambassador. We have a peace ambassador here who works directly under the supervision of the minister, and so many other things we are responsible for. We're also a member of the Security Council, the National Security Council.
All right, thank you.
Member of the National Security Council, the Ministry of Internal Affairs. We are responsible for some internal security matters along with other paramilitary institutions like the immigration, the fire service, the DEA, the Liberia National Police. Together,
thank you.
We are holding Liberia's peace together.
Thank you for that overview of the ministry's work there. That is important that you share that. But my curiosity is in your area. I don't want to pull you all over the place. And so let's address the issue of decentralization. My understanding is that decentralization is in parity with your party's pillar, one of its pillars, power to the people. So tell me, when you say power to the people and say decentralization, how your department that is responsible for planning is carrying out this power to the people through the decentralization program. What specifics can you give me that you are involved with right now to enhance decentralization in Liberia?
First of all, when we talk about decentralization, we're talking about taking the government to the people. We're talking about taking activities of government to the people, for the people themselves to feel a part of what they establish, because the government is an establishment of the people, because they have the power. And so when we are elected as a government, we give them the best in terms of social services, in terms of goods and other services that they desire to improve their lives. And so,
for example,
the National Decentralization Program is at work. For example, we're now formulating a document with the Liberia Revenue Authority, the Governance Commission. That document is almost completed, and we're talking about revenue sharing. That is counties. If a county, for example,
are you talking about it? Are you not doing it? You're just talking about it now. 3 years and more into power. You're just talking about it.
The document is almost already complete, because we are doing it alongside our partners, our international partners, because government should not be extracting resources from regions or from counties, and those counties do not benefit, for example. And that has been happening for donkey years now.
So what's in this document, Mr. Cherry? What's in this document for our people?
For example, the collection of lawful revenue from the counties.
Okay.
We are saying that once we collect revenues from the counties, at least 20-25% of that revenue should remain in the counties for development purposes of the county. And so that's the kind of revenue sharing agreement, revenue sharing formula. We've almost completed. The UNDP is involved, the USAID is involved, the European Union is involved, the Governance Commission, the Liberia Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Internal Affairs. We all are involved, and then we're making sure that this document, once completed, will be passed by the legislature, and counties will continue to benefit from their resources.
So explain to me, Mr. Sharif. Mr. Sharif, hold on there.
Yeah.
Explain to me, what are the structures that you will put in play, maybe as contained in this document you're talking about, as to how these steps will be taken? Share with us the specific, give me some description of how it will be implemented in the counties. Who's doing what they're doing, how they're doing it, where it's moving from, and where it's going.
Well, first of all, when we're talking about the collection of revenue, for example,
okay,
that is responsibility of the Liberia Revenue Authority.
Okay,
and then we are instituting a mechanism where the county will have a representation at every level of such a process, such that nobody can be cheated. For example, maybe the county can have a revenue officer assigned in the county office of the LRA, collecting revenue and remitting the county's portion of what is due them. Once we do that, the issue of bargaining will be collective, and we will work together responsibly with the counties for those counties to be developed. Let's take example, Grand Cru. Grand Cru, for example, Grand Cru is one of the most underdeveloped counties alongside River G County and Bapolo County.
And River says as well. River says as well.
Yeah. Yeah?
I said River says as well.
Yes, River says. I just forgot. River says as well. So, we've been talking about resources from those counties. Do you really think government should go and take those resources and bring it at the center? Because we have been running government from the center in Monrovia. Okay. And then we do not give them anything back.
All right.
To develop their infrastructure.
That's true.
No, we say no. And that's the reason why we are setting all of it. And it's going to be a very fair game. It's going to be a very fair game.
Mr. Sheriff,
and they are pushing us to do that. Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Sheriff, we've seen plans before. We heard policy documents before. Vision 2020, sustainable development, blah, blah, blah. Now we're hearing the Propo agenda for prosperity and development. We've heard these things before, but when it comes to implementation, it becomes a mirage. So talk to me. This is a government now that you are making this big news that is carrying on a plan to decentralize government, to give power to the people in their counties for them to be able, to benefit from the revenues that have been generated in those counties. Now, of recent, the CDC government is on record for taking the 5% equity, I'm talking about for petroleum equity from our people, and giving it to individuals they classify as business people. So how can we, looking at that, say this government is going to get 25% to our people? Nothing has ever been implemented successfully in our place there. What do you think?
Well, I cannot elaborate on any issue of 5% equity from anywhere because I don't know about that. I'm not informed. But as per the document we have formulated concerning the revenue sharing, like I said, our international partners are involved, and they mean it. The government means it for us to take development to our people. Because, for example, in the last few weeks, the president, the government has been, having a county tour, installing solar lights in county capitals. Building some infrastructure like vocational institutions. I think these things, some of those interventions should not necessarily be done by a mechanism through which when the president goes to those counties that you see them happening. No, we are saying that some of those interventions in the counties should be done by the county administrations themselves through the resources of the counties. Through that share of the resources, through that portion of the resources, so that because they know what they want. That's the first thing. The counties, the political subdivisions, the counties know what they want. The superintendent.
And Mr. Sherry, so let me hold you there. Let me hold you there, Mr. Sherry. Let me hold you there, Mr. Sherry. So I get what you're saying, right? I like that you brought it up and you used the rightful terminology by describing them as political subdivision. These are political geographical areas that should be able to run their own affairs with support from the central government. So that should be the low-hanging fruit, right? I mean, so where we see under this government, where superintendents are being elected, where city mayors are being elected, President we are following suit with other president. He's the change guy. He's still appointing mayors. That is the low-hanging fruit. That's something you can just sit here today and and allow the people to vote. And you think by impressing us with revenue generation that will be given to the people the president has appointed will filter to the people?
Well, the issue of the election of superintendents has now happened for over 33 years now. Superintendents have not been elected for over 33 years now. But the development programs, the national decentralization policy, there are stages. There are stages. And so we live from one stage to another. There are discussions going on right now between central government and members of the legislature. Okay, because to get superintendents elected, that has to be a legislation from parliament. Okay, to get.
So what's about Senate mayor? Do we have to do that too?
Mr. C.
Yes.
This is absolute political issue that have its toll in the minds of a lot of people, including legislators. There are some legislators who feel that it is not a problem of the executive.
I think it is, Mr. Sherry. I think it is because my research tells me. Hold on. I think it is because my research tells me presidents should not be appointing city mayors.
There are legislators who feel, for example, that electing a superintendent will reduce their own powers, their own authority in the counties.
And do you believe that?
Many of them, I'm telling you, there are some legislators who feel that because the superintendents of the counties, many of them are susceptible at times to the caprices of legislators. Sometimes they bamboozle superintendents to do what they think they want be done in their counties. And so there are some of them who feel that once we elect superintendents, once we elect county officials, they will lessen their powers in their counties, and that is it. But many times people attribute to the executive as not wanting to appoint for superintendents to be elected.
Yeah, I get the superintendent part. But what's about Senate mayors? Again, my research tells me presidents of Liberia should not be appointing city mayors. They should be elected. But one president after the other renege on this, and President we are is dancing this same ugly music.
No. I have not seen in the Constitution of Liberia of 1986 that superintendents should be elected. I have not seen that. I have not seen that mayors should be elected. I think that used to happen. But I don't think it is in the 1986 Constitution. I don't think it's there, because if it is there, I don't think President Weah would go against that. But it is not there. Superintendent used to be elected. Sometime back before, my father told me that there was this mayoral election between Dr. Amos Sawyer, I think, and Chuchu Houghton,
right,
for example. That was a time where local administration was at the height. But after the 1986 Constitution was crafted and passed, I don't think that is there. And so, because if it is there, I don't think the president will want to go against it for any reason.
All right.
But right now, the superintendents are being appointed, mayors are being appointed, commissioners are being appointed. But it is a fact, I'm telling you, some of our lawmakers here in town feel that the election of superintendents will lessen their power, will reduce their power, their authority in their counties.
With the CDC government change that? Will the CDC government change that?
Whether the CDC government will do that, I don't speak for the government.
Do you want the CDC government to change that? Do you want the CDC government to change that?
If as the election of county officials, local officials of government in the counties, I think it will be a very good thing for the fledgling democracy we have. And I think we will get there. We will get there. But I think it is gradual. It is a gradual process. You cannot just wake up one morning.
You're talking about gradual. This country has been in existence for 174 years now, and you're talking gradual. The election of superintendents and city mayors should be gradual in the 24th century. This is the key government that should be able to pour a legislation on the decks of the legislator, say, let's get this done. And I ask you the question directly, will you want to see that? And you're being eloquent on the issue. Do you want that to happen? That's the question I'm asking.
I personally would like that to happen. Okay. I personally would like that to happen. Like I said, I don't speak for government. Okay. I personally would like that to happen. But Mr. Steve,
yes,
you are right. You are right. We're 174 years old. This thing has been rolling on. But don't forget that our government is just 3 years old.
But you told us you have a country giant. You told us you have a country giant. I know why giants do. Giants get things done in no time. So let the country giant get it
done. Yes, the country giant is getting things done. But in that vein, getting things done does not mean that you should usurp the function of another branch of government. Only the legislature can pass law for superintendents to get elected.
Our constitution allows the executive to submit a bill to the legislature. Our constitution allows for the executive to submit a legislation to the legislature to get it done. So that's an option.
Our constitution allows that, Mr. Sear, and also don't forget our constitution also allows a member of the legislature to introduce any draft legislation to be approved. Like, for example, Senator Edison of Bomi County just submitted a draft legislation to make
Ramadan a national holiday, right?
It's a holiday, a national holiday, and also I think Easter. Friday or Easter Sunday a holiday, and so legislators themselves can submit draft legislation to their colleagues and support it.
And I agree with you. So can the CDC lawmakers do that because they control both houses? So let them get these things done. Can we get one from your lawmakers in the House? Will they do that? I know why they are not doing that, because probably the president has not spoken on it.
I would be glad. I would be glad where that to happen. But don't forget that some of those people were elected on a CDC ticket, but they were elected by the Liberian people. They were elected by their constituencies, and so they don't represent the CDC in the legislature. They represent their various constituencies at the legislature. And so what their constituencies want, what their constituents want, is what they do. What the CDC wants is not what they necessarily do, like what they are.
Minister Sharif, here is the thing. The CDC, though they represent their people, you are right. They were elected on the CDC ticket. The CDC has an agenda. In that agenda, they say power to the people. Giving power to the people will mean that let the people elect their own local officials. So why can't the CDC actualize its pillow by giving the people this right to do so by electing their own local leaders? I don't think it would be against the will of the people that they represent.
The government is a unit. We don't run parallel governments. The executive and the legislature do not run parallel government. The judiciary themselves do not run parallel government with the other two branches of the government. And that, like I continue to say.
And what does that mean? What does that mean?
I would like that to happen, but this is not This is not a zero-sum game where one person takes all. Okay, the three branches are separate but coordinate. They support each other for the entirety of the government to succeed.
So that can get done with a legislation of that nature, don't you think so?
I would not sit here, however. I wouldn't sit here, however,
okay,
to tell the Liberian people and the world that I speak for the government. I can answer some of those hard questions you are asking, but I don't speak for the government. I don't tell what the government to do. What I think I can do is to do my job, to offer my quota to Liberian people based on the responsibilities that come to me in my office.
All right, thank you.
That's what I do.
Thank you. Again, folks, you're watching Focus on Liberia. This is the Hour of Politics with me, Anthony C.A., your host here. Welcome. Here at Focus on Liberia, we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Mama Liberia. My guest, Assistant Minister Ishaka Sharif. He is an Assistant Minister for Research and Development Planning at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. He is a member of the ruling party, CDC. And so I'm going to make him to answer the tough questions that I have for him. No free money. He worked for us. He must answer our questions. Folks, we have a lot of issues that we are going to bring here. Let's come to the president's contest tour or nationwide tour. You work at the Ministry of Internal Affairs, so this actually falls, under your purview. My first question here is, what has been achieved from the multiple tours of the counties?
That's a very, very good and cardinal question you've asked. The Minister of Internal Affairs has done an extremely marvelous job. Let me give on Ravani Sharif a pat on the back by organizing and arranging the tour of the counties with the president. And as a matter of fact, the biggest concern of the president has always been the unification of our people, to get our people united to live in harmony. And the president, during his tour of the counties, has always preached a message of peace, a message of national reconciliation. No matter what, because no matter what the president does, no matter what the government does, no matter what skyscraper the government builds, no matter whether the president floods the streets with gold, if our people are not united, if we don't have peace in this country, everything will be derailed. And so
when you say our people, can you define who all constitute the people? Because I really want to know.
I'm talking about the Liberian people. The Liberian people living and residing in the 15 political subdivisions of the country. Okay. We are cross-cultural. Our cross-cultural nature. We are intertwined. The Pele, the Mandingos, the Vai, the Kisi, the Crime, the Gio, Mano, whatever you think about. People.
You think the opposition part of the people?
Of course, opposition people are Pele people. Opposition people are Loma people, Vai people. No matter the political divide. When we come from these hectic political debates, we go to the same homes.
We hear the president call opposition people.
We live in the same household. Mm-hmm. For example, I have a brother who is with the CPP. Mm-hmm. I'm with the CDC. We involve ourselves into the hectic political debates, and then we go home in the evening and eat from the same pan.
But that's not what I see, Mr. Sharif. Mr. Sharif, hold on there. That's not what I see. What I see is a president who's preaching reconciliation, whatever that means to him, calling folks in the opposition enemies of the state, calling them liar men, calling them racketeers, referring to some of them that will not win anything in this place. So talk to me. Is that how you preach this reconciliation trumpet he's blowing?
First of all, Mr. Sia, during electioneering processes, during electioneering period, the politics becomes caustic.
Okay.
The politics becomes not only in Liberia, it is not unique to Liberia, but when these processes end, when such periods end, when we come back, when winners are announced, we come back and reconcile our differences and live together in harmony. If you go to
President when he said enemy of the state, he was elected a president.
Period, people are divided. People are divided on issues. People are divided during electioneering period. And that's what happens exactly at times. So when the president is campaigning for his political institution, he does not campaign for the opposition. The opposition does not campaign for the ruling party. And so sometimes we throw out jives, but those jabs are thrown during election periods. For example, during the 2020 election, during the 2019 special senatorial, 2019 by-elections or what have you, there were hard feelings between brothers, between sisters, between families. But when those processes end, we come back to our katakun, we come back to our homes, and we mend the differences. We mend the differences, and we live together again. And so that's what has happened. And that will continue to happen until that kingdom comes.
All right, Mr. Sharif.
Period, the politics will get caustic.
Mr. Sharif, thank you again, folks. You are watching the Hour of Politics. I have with me Mr. Ishaka M. Sharif, the tough talking assistant minister at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. He's in the planning, research, and development department. He is my guest. He is also a member of the CDC. Let's come to the cost. Look, your government is a proper government. You continue to tell us. I'm still trying to find whether you are actually pro-poor. So talk to me about cost. This tour of the counties that the president has been on for how long now? 2 months. He's made 5 different trips. He said that he's found something new, another way to just spend money. Talk to me. How much did it cost the government of Liberia, the taxpayers, for this president to just go around and take pictures, if I may say?
Well, the tour of the counties was planned before the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus.
Okay.
And so when the virus broke out, the tour had to be postponed to another date. And fortunately, in the last few weeks, a month or so, was the best time the president thought that he could go around the counties to see his people, to have meetings with them.
I get that. I'm asking you for the cost. How much did this trip or these tours cost the Liberian people? Do you know?
How much did it cost? It cost the Liberian government disunity, because there were a lot of confusion in some of the counties.
I'm talking about money here. I'm talking about money here. You told me the president is for reconciliation.
In terms of financial resources, no, I cannot be the one to tell you that, because I don't sit at the Ministry of Finance Minister of Finance and Development Planning to tell you.
Do you have to be there as a minister of government to know how much money is being spent on what you consider as a consequential tour? Do you have to be at the Ministry of Finance to know that? Is it that you are not transparent as a government, so no one can know?
No, it's not about not being transparent. We are transparent with every dealing we go in. So if the requisite people responsible for to detail the financial implication of the government of the president's tour of the counties, once they are available, They can tell you how much was spent, how the vouchers were raised, how the checks were encashed, and how it was distributed, how it was disbursed to people. They will tell you that, but I cannot tell you that because I'm not only that.
I thought this trip was budgeted, Mr. Sheriff, wasn't it?
I don't have much detail. I don't have much detail at my fingertips concerning that. So if I should delve into telling you about financial implications, the trip had, then I might be saying some lies.
But at least can you tell me whether or not it was budgeted? Was this trip budgeted?
What?
Was there a budget for it? In any case, you should know the budget too, or you don't know as well.
The budgeting of the trip was done by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and between them and the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. And so we at the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the only thing we did is that we did the organization. We did the organization of our people in the counties, the traditional people, the local people.
And that did not cost you any money? And that did not cost you any money, Mr. Sheriff?
That's what we did.
And that did not cost you any money?
Well, we operate within the confines of the allotments given to the Ministry of Internal Affairs in the budgetary period, in the fiscal period. And so, if I tell you we spend $10,000 or we spend $20,000 to go ahead as an advance team to arrange some of those meetings and things, then I would be that would be appropriate. But to say the consummate amount of money spent on the tour, that can only be adjudicated by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning.
This is what critics are saying, Mr. Sheriff. This is what critics are saying. Critics are saying this president, he likes the crowd. That's the arena he comes from. He's been in Monrovia, and all we saw was one protest after another. He was getting unpopular. His government has been whooped and whooped in Monrovia, its stronghold. And so he said, well, maybe let me go to the counties. I may get some love. And the first one, he was surprised to have seen a lot of people lining up to see him. And so he's like, oh, now I see what to do. Is that what's going on here with this county trip? A president going around want to be cheered by the people? Is that what it is?
No, the president doesn't have interest in that. As a matter of fact, critics were always criticized. Our opposition will not praise us because that job is not to praise the government.
Okay.
That job is not to praise the government. That job is to spin everything, every good thing the government do to bad. Because they themselves want to be in the very position we are in. And so we don't expect them to praise us. We don't expect them to be praising the president around every day. That doesn't mean that the government is not working. The government is doing an indelibly enormous job here. We talk about the president being unpopular. No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that proposition. The president is not unpopular. You see, you saw once we came from Lopa County, for example, the opposition went and had an emergency meeting. They had an emergency meeting because they knew that, or they know that the president has had exploits in the county, amongst the local people, the indigenous people. And so they were very quick to announce, to arrange an emergency meeting at the Bella Casa Hotel. I don't know what it is called there, but they went. This president, I think this president is very popular. We have underestimated him in the last 2-3 years. All of what we're saying, we are fooling ourselves that the president is not popular. The president is unpopular with the people. But based on what we've seen on this content tour, I think we need to go back to our Karakun and change gear. And that's what the opposition did.
Mr. Sherry.
Just day before yesterday, they did that. So to say the president is unpopular, anybody who says the president is unpopular, then that person should think again.
Mr. Sherry.
The president is greatly popular in this country. The president, George Weah, is the most popular Liberian that is alive.
All right.
I can tell you that.
Mr. Sherry.
I don't apologize for this statement. He's the most popular Liberian alive anywhere, or whether home or abroad.
All right. Mr. Sharif, talking about the president's trip again and then talking about popularity and crowd and all that. This is what Mr. Cyril Allen, who my understanding is the chairman of the CDC Governing Council, said, and I will quote him here. He said, going to the counties and traveling or carrying people with you is unacceptable. He said, unquote, when you are going to the county, you don't carry people. You go there to meet people. He was trying to say that the president is carrying a lot of people behind him. He went further by saying, by putting people in trucks or boxes and taking them to the counter. Again, he said that is unacceptable. And he said the president does not have the numbers. He said that's not how you create number. This is false impression, according to him, being created by the president by just trucking people behind him to the counties to show that he has the number. And this is the chairman of the CDC or Governing Council. Don't you think he has a point here?
Chief Cyril Allen, somebody that I respect so much. I've had a lot of respect for as an elderly person, and I agree with him. Let me say I agree with him over 90% of what he said, the statement he made. That
the president should go to meet people instead of carrying people. But I don't think that was the case. I think Mr. Cyril Allen was misinformed. Though I agree with him that should be the one happening, that the president should go to the counties and meet people instead of carrying people, instead of trucking people. I agree with Mr. Cyril Allen on that, but that is not the reality. That was not what happened. As a matter of fact, the president going to the counties, there are certain people that cannot leave behind. There are certain people that cannot live there. They're not supposed to stay behind. They have to travel with the president because, you cannot tell me the president is going on a country tour where there are going to be a lot of financial implications in the country tour that you should not tell the Minister of Finance. You should not tell me the president should be going in the country where our roads are deplorable and the Minister of Public Works should not follow the president. You cannot tell me the Minister of Education should not follow the president when our people are telling the president that we want schools, we want vocational institutions, our district do not have a single secondary school. You can
so if the finance minister, hold on there. You told me.
I would join. I'm coming. I would join Honorable Cyril Allen to elevate his voice. To elevate his voice, that the president shouldn't have to. The president should not carry, should not be transporting or trucking people to the counties. But fortunately, that was not the one that happened. As a matter of fact, Anthony, in Lofa, for example, somebody talked about the government carries a lot of NTA buses. Look, there are right now there are NTA buses that are commuting people between Monrovia and Voinjama. Some of those buses are assigned to the counties, and some of those buses, the transportation they did was internal transport of people. People living from Farragut to go to Zosa, for example, in the same local county. People living from Fisibu to go to Foya from the same local.
Mr. Sharif.
Buses are assigned bosses that are assigned in the county, but some of the bosses are committed people, the very people who live within the bailiwick of the county, were transported by some of those bosses to go to district of Kwatuboni, to Kulahu, to Foya,
Mr. Sharif.
and Wakapu.
Mr. Sharif, the delegation of the president, I think there's a legitimate concern here that many are having. You were trying to make the case that the finance minister needed to be there because the trip involve money. I mean, does the finance minister have to follow the president to say SASNA before it can be justified that this amount need to be spent for transportation? Does he actually have to be there? Is that why you're telling us? Because hold on now. These number of ministers that are going behind the president is not free, and you know it. These people must be fed. These people are carrying vehicles that have to be fueled. These people are going with their drivers that are working extra hours because they drive in the night. These people have to be paid. So you are putting yourself into huge expensive with the numbers of ministers behind you, and all they do is just stand there and do nothing, and then the government spend more money and you say you are pro-poor. So how is that justifiable?
The president will, the minister of finance will not just get up and follow the president to go to the county. I can assure you that. That was not what happened.
That's what happened. We saw the finance minister. We saw the finance minister and the minister of state for presidential affairs with cutlass. We saw the minister of state for presidential affairs. We saw Bear Twewe, who is for NPA. We saw Nathaniel Fallon Mange. The three of them with cutlasses along with the president said they're breaching. Who are they fooling here?
Anthony.
Yes.
The managing director of the National Port Authority, for example, the government of Liberia is making all frantic efforts to open the port of Buchanan and make it a fully operational port. And the president is going to Grand Bassa County, where such an investment is expected to be launched. And you tell me that the NPA managing director should not be there?
He can go there all by himself. He can go to, but here's the thing. There is a managing director. Hold on now. There is a managing director at the Buchanan Port, right? There is a managing director at the Buchanan Port.
The visit of the president, for example, the visit of the president was intended in Grand Bassa County. Well, a component of the president's visit was intended to launch that investment in Grand Bassa County. So the MD remain behind. The president go and come back. Then the MD go now to do that. No,
I'm talking about the previous trip. The previous trip when I'm talking about the previous trip, Mr. Sharif. The previous trip when we saw this gentleman, Bear Twewe, and Samuel Twewe, the finance minister, brushing. I thought it should be the agriculture minister. Maybe that should do, display that kind of symbolism of holding a cutlass to brush. But we saw the finance minister. Is he some kind of a de facto president here?
No. The government is one government. The government is one government. People are working for the government. The minister of finance. Look, it is a symbolic gesture that a minister of finance will take a cutlass to cut grass because see him. The minister of finance doing that, they get enthused, they get impressed, and they get reinvigorated to do the same in their local. So it should not be any problem like only the minister of agriculture will have to do that before people know that. This is petty politics. Let us not play politics out of everything. And this is what we do in this country. The government is one government. We are one and we operate in oneness. So the president requests who travel with him on the country tour. And all of those ministers that travel with the president were requested.
All right, folks, bear with us here. There was a disconnection with the Bluetooth, so I'm resetting it. Mr. Sharif will join me here very soon, so bear with us here. And of course, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is the Hour of Politics. I'm Anthony Sie. I have with me Minister Ishaka Sharif, Assistant Minister at the Ministry of Internal Affairs in the Department of Planning, Research, and Development. He will be joining us here quickly on the phone. I am making connecting the Bluetooth to the speaker. I don't know, for some reason it kind of cut off, and I want for you to be able to hear him loud and clear. So bear with us here at Focus on Liberia while we wait for him to join back here on the line. We will take a short break. Don't go anywhere. I still have some questions. Accountability. I want to know what this government is up to when it comes to accountability. I really do want to know. I want to know about the War and Economic Crime Court. Will the CDC give it to us? Oh, maybe they are chilling with Prince Johnson, right? Can you imagine a Mamba model walking with Prince Johnson? Can they even give us the Economic Crimes Code, folks? Can they? Well, he's coming back, and I will poach him. This is what I do. I poach people because I'm looking for answers for my country. If you say you want to lead us, be prepared to answer the question, folks. Be prepared to answer the question, and he's calling back. He is calling back, folks. But that break, and I'll be right
at Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I'm Anthony Sie on the Hour of Politics. Welcome, folks. Mr. Sharif is back on the phone. Mr. Sharif, you were in speech there before we had that little technical, problem. Welcome back. So continue on, complete your thought.
Yes, like I've said, there are different ministers responsible for different issues on the trip, and so depending on what the president wants. And I think they did not go there on their own. They went there through, by the instruction of the president to attend to different issues. So let us not play politics out of everything, which we do in this country. And because somebody doesn't like the opposition, or an opposition member doesn't like the government. So whatever the government does is wrong, whether it is good. The press, it's going to be spin to make it look wrong. Let us not desist from that. Everybody that goes on
Mr. Sharif,
yeah,
you continue to use the word spin and spin. Does that presuppose that this is something you did when you were in opposition? You were spinning things against the Allen government?
That will always happen. That will always happen. It is not unique to the existing opposition. And we got to face the fact.
So you are the master of this spinning thing, and this is why that's all you see, right?
Listen, I will not sit here. I will not sit here and say I didn't do it. Okay, it is not unique to the current opposition. But there are issues that happen, and the disproportionate nature at which we take them sometimes tend to harm the country. Okay.
For example.
I was in opposition. For example, somebody, a group of people just sit down and say, $16 billion of the country's money that was printed got missing.
That was what your information minister then. Lane Eugene Nambwe said.
By all indications, it has been proven that Mr. Lane Nambwe was grossly misquoted, And even when the international people came, Kroll Associates, one of the most reputable institutions in the world, came and did their investigation. They did their audit and everything. They said there was no, they said no $16 billion got missing.
All right.
So, but people were still saying that Kroll lied, the money got missing. So imagine that such institution, an institution of such reputable nature will give a report and people still doubting it.
All right.
You know,
let's come to accountability here, Mr. Sharif. Let's come to accountability. I still have a few more things for you to answer here. Let's talk about accountability. My first question on this accountability issue is, have you declared your assets and liability and made them public? It is required by the Code of Conduct of 2014. Have you done that?
You mean Ishaka Sharif?
Yes, Ishaka M. Sharif, somebody that I know now. Did you declare your asset and did you make it public?
Well, it should not be about me.
I want to know.
It should not be about me. It shouldn't be about Ishaka Sharif.
You are a leader. You should set an example. Can you answer my question? Did you do that?
We are under mandate. We are under mandate to declare our assets and liabilities in conformity with the law.
That's what I asked you the question. So did you do that?
You have to look. You have to put. You have to go through processes before doing that, and this is the process I'm going through right now. So if I tell you,
so you have not done that. You have not declared your asset yet.
I'm coming. In the next few days, the process will be completed. So I will to tell you.
Will I get a copy? Will I get a copy as a media person? Will I get a copy? Will I get a copy?
So once my asset, once I do the declaration of my asset and the information is approved by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, I will furnish you with a copy.
So why has it taken you too long? Because the Code of Conduct Law of 2014 said any official of government prior to taking office should declare or must declare. And you have been working now and you are in violation of the law. Are you proud of this example that you set in, Mr. Sharif?
I'm not in violation of the law. That's why I'm complying.
The law said prior to taking office, you have taken office long time, and you say you are not in violation?
I am working assiduously to declare my asset in the next few days. But the processes are going on. The document is here before me, and I'm still working on it because it is not a one-day thing. When they send you the form, for example, you got to take your own time to fill it because any mistake you make on that form, if it is detrimental, it will be detrimental to you.
All right.
So I got to take my own time to fill in this form, and once I'm completed, I will send you a copy of it.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate your honesty telling me that you have not done that here and that you are in the process of doing it. I just have to be honest here to say to you, you are in violation because the law said you must do it before you take office. Thank you, folks. This is Focus on Liberia. This is the hour of politics. Folks start calling me here. I'm busy handling business here. Oh, somebody called me in and ruined this connection again, folks. Bear with me here. I will get Mr. Sharif connected again. Mr. Sharif, stay there. Folks, stop calling me. You people know I'm in this media thing. Before you call me, look around a little bit. Yeah. Bear with me here, folks. I want to make sure Mr. Sharif is connected so he can be heard loud and clear. Mr. Sharif, can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, you are loud and clear, but it's not connected to the speaker. Hey, Mr. Tule, stop calling me, man. You cause a problem here again. So, Mr. Sharif, what I'm gonna do is when this happens, I have to restart the phone for it to be connected to the Bluetooth. I don't know why folks are doing this. So I'm gonna cut you off and call back right away, okay? Yeah, folks, please stop calling me. Stop calling me. stop calling me. When you call me, you pull things out of control here. Folks, this is Focus on Liberia. Anthony C. hosting. Let me get my guest reconnected here so that we can continue. We have barely 5 minutes left in this interview. We have barely 5 minutes here in this interview. And my next question here will be on, whether or not the Honorable Minister is certified with this CDC administration fight against the corruption that is being talked about over and over in this government. I want to know, whether he is certified. I want to know, are you certified with this government's fight on corruption? Are you certified, folks? I want to know. The minister will tell us. These people calling me in Rome, I think here. Bear with me here, folks. Trying to get things connected here quickly.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony C. back with you here on the Hour of Politics. I'm now waiting for the minister to join me so that we can continue on this interview. He will join me. It's not his fault. Somebody called me and it ruined the connection here. So let me text him to call now. Let me text him to call right now. Please call me now. All right. So let me read some comments while we wait for the minister to join us. Let's hear from Henry Passaway. Good afternoon. Good afternoon there. Let's hear from Mianta Herring. It is about time. That is correct. I don't know what you're talking about, by the way. I am watching from Johnsonville, New Israel community. Thank you for joining us all the way there, Elliot. Mianta again, hallelujah. It's about time we hear about such document. Yeah, he was talking about the document, and I'm trying to say, hey, we heard these things before. Nothing ever got implemented. The hope that these documents, I hope that these documents or this document include the banks that they build branches in all counties, that we stop carrying money in bags and it disappears and an individual escaped country. All right. I think the person is trying to say, well, there should be banks established in the counties so that people will not put the money in the bag. They try to tell us they're coming to Monrovia with the money. The next thing, they cross the border and they're gone. All right. Mianta again, tell the people that some of the counties which have electricity will have electricity comes via the African Grill Ivory Coast providing southeastern area, and not a proper no proper implementation. Okay, she's talking about what is that again? The African Grill from the Ivory Coast that is providing some electrical grill, and she's saying if there's anything like electricity, it will be through that effort, and it's not the proper government. But once they're doing it with the government will claim it. That's one of the advantages of being in charge of the government. Mianta again, who crafted that 1986 Constitution? Well, the people are still around. Let's hear from Victor here. He said, Anthony C. is answering, my brother. Can you host me so as to discuss the violation of our petroleum law by this government? Yeah, my name is there, Anthony C. Send me request. I will bring you in. This is a job that I have taken, to talk about the country that I love, Liberia. I'm still waiting for the minister to call in here, but let me read comments as I wait for him. Miata is busy here, very, very busy. The ministers who accompany the president impeded the functions of their office. Are there not other qualified employees working within the finance, public works, who can accompany the president and meet with their counterparts in various countries, I think she meant counties, who can gather information? Miata is busy all over the place. I like that. But let me get to others too. Martin Brown, the minister will only tell you that the president has submitted a bill to empower the LACC. Yeah, well, I myself have heard about that bill, that is submitted a bill to give the LACC something they call prosecutorial power, to give it teeth to bite. That thing is like a two-flat big bulldog. A paper will not make it happen. People make it happen. People that have the guts, even with the current information of that, they can get something done. This is the president that made a promise that he will establish an economic crime code, a special code to prosecute corruption. 4 years into the office, we haven't seen it, and now they're trying to lecture us that this is what they're doing. Well, the minister is not here. A few comments here. Miata again, he is in violation of the law, and those not seem to get it. Wow. Well, so Miata is making the case that he's in violation, and many of them who are in that situation or that category seem not to get it. Well, folks, few comments here. It is about an hour and 14 minutes gone. We will take leave of you in no time. I'm sorry that the connection, that call messed with it, and so we lost the minister. But this is what I have for you. And to the gentlemen that want to reach out to me to kind of talk about the 5% equity, I am here. Reach out to me. This is what I do for our country. As I continue to tell people, I'm looking for a country called Liberia that will be described as this glorious land of opportunities. And I believe that those opportunities will come through leadership. And that is why I try to ask questions that will awaken the minds and the thinking and the vision of these leaders, to be able to act with vision and not act based on greed and selfishness that we see today. Again, my guest is not here, and so I will call it a day. So this is how, folks, we will come to the end of yet another edition of our programs here. I focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. And don't forget, as always, we never close without bringing you that song that says, "We are all Liberians." That song gives me power. That song connects me to my country. That song wakes me up every day that we are all Liberians. Whether you're government, you're opposition, I want you to serve Liberia to the best of your ability, void of greed, corruption, and selfishness. That is what I want to see. That is how it should be. And until we do that, that glorious land of liberty, that glorious land of opportunities will not come. And when we all come, until we start acting. Thank you, and thank you, and have a nice day. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home.